November 17th, 2015 regular call board meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We appreciate the Fairfield Elementary School for hosting us tonight. Ms. Brown, we have appropriate notification of the public for the meeting next week. Yes, thank you. And confirmation of a quorum. At this point, we have 5 of the 7. Thank you. Then we'll move to the election of officers. At this time, I'll turn the meeting to Dr. Green as he will handle the initial election for board chair.
Now we'll open the floor for nominations for board chair.
Green, Board, I'd like to nominate Ms. Beth Williams for chairman of the Board of Trustees of Fairfield County.
All right, Mr. Miller has nominated Beth Weaver the second. Any other nominations?
Mr. Green, I'm going to nomination be closed. Ms. Reed be elected by acclamation.
Second. All in favor of accepting this new acclamation? So.
Raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand.
2, 3, 4.
For all opposed? One opposed. 4 in favor, 1 opposed. Okay, I'm trying that again.
Thank you, Dr. Green. We'll open the floor for nominations for board vice chair.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Reverend Carl Jackson Jr.
Thank you.
Make sure I said it.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Reverend Jackson has been nominated. Are there other nominees? Mr. Britt has been nominated.
I respectfully decline. I would like to let you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Britt has declined. Any other nominees?
Madam Chair, I move nomination be closed. Reverend Jackson be elected by acclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Britt. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Those in favor of the continuing vice chair position to be held by Reverend Carl Jackson, please signify by raising your right hand. 2, 3, 4, 5. Ms. Brown, thank you. And we'll move to the election of the board secretary. Nominations, please.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to nominate Mr. William Freak Jr. I think he's a junior. William Freak Jr.
All right, for second. Any other nominees? Thank you, Pastor Jackson. Your second.
I second that.
Thank you. Those in favor of Mr. Britt continuing as board secretary, please signify by raising your right hand. 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. So the election of the officers is now complete. We'll entertain a motion to enter executive session. That executive session will be for teacher personnel reservations.
Madam Chair, make a motion to go to executive session for personnel matters as outlined.
Thank you. Signify by saying aye. Aye. We'll return no later than 6:30.
good night. That was a good night, Jim.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to exit executive session,
Madam Chair, make a motion to exit executive session.
during which time no action was taken and only personnel resignations and retirement were discussed. Correct? We have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of the exit from executive session, signify by raising their right hand. We have 6-0. We'll move on to the welcome again. Appreciate Fairfield Elementary School for hosting us. The facility is beautiful as usual, and we appreciate the large crowd here tonight for the 17th of November 2015 regular scheduled school board and trustees meeting for Fairfield County School District. We'll move to the pledge and the opening silence.
Y'all stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
While we're standing, if you remain standing for a moment in silence for the pledge. Thank you.
We'll move to the approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, motion to approve the agenda as stated, seen, right here, second.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you, Pastor Jackson. Comments or discussion?
Madam Chair, I requested for the review of go over the retreat as Annie requested in the previous meeting. Any particular reason it was not put on the agenda?
The same as before, Ms. Hartman, Dr. Green and I reviewed the issues and we set the agenda, the course of the agenda.
Do you have any idea when we
I don't,
will be going over some of that information?
I don't know.
Well, we had also, as far as in the same line that we discussed on that, as the School Board Association sent back the policies for the district. And, when are we going to update those policies?
We need to do that. Glad you brought that back up. I will make a note. We'll take care of that. I'm not sure when, but we'll do that. We'll add that.
I mean, it's been a year.
Okay. Thank you. Any others? We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Those in favor signify by raising of the right hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you. And public comment.
Madam Chair, I received no public comment this evening.
Thank you. Move to the board minutes. September 2015, regular call meeting. The recommendation is that the board approve the minutes from that meeting, the September 15th meeting. Entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, recommend superintendent recommendation that the board approve the minutes from September 15th, regular call board, right in second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Mr. Frick. Question or discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the approval of the minutes from September 15th signify by raising of the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposition? 2. Thank you. October 15th, October 20th, 2015. Minutes from the regular called board meeting.
Chair, I make a motion, set the superintendent's recommendation, approve minutes from October 20th, regular school board meeting, right in the second. Second.
Thank you, Mr. Miller and Pastor Jackson. Question or comments?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
there was a, comments made as far as, it seems like that, is there a particular reason why some statements are put on there when they don't request it to be on, as far as on record versus other people that are not? Seems like it's showing partiality.
What are you referring to exactly?
Well, like for example, when we're discussing, when we were discussing the trips, Mr. Frick made reference to having I don't know whether it was what we're supposed to pay for the total, but it stated that, and I stated, could we have those two things? And as far as that way we'll know what we're paying versus what the amount is, and did not say that. That's an example.
Okay, I'm looking at F, curriculum and instruction, and there is a request from Mr. Frick for next year to provide uniformity to this there. Right, so what's the problem? It shouldn't be there, or it should?
It should be, but there was no statement of what I stated to ask for. I don't know which one he asked for, whether he asked for the total, was he asking for the total, was he asking for the total that we're paying? But I made reference to, could we have both the total and how much they're asking us to pay?
Okay, would you like to put that on the record for right now?
Yes.
Okay, would you like to state it so that we can put it on the record for adding it to these minutes?
Yes, I'd like to state that, I'd like it to be, when we're presented things as far as trips that we have, the total amount is, of the trip, and then we're also given how much the board is asked to pay for approximately.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other comments or discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
the sentence, the motion that was made, of the statement, they had the sentence to allow in it, that was not part of the statement that they made, so they said that it would be.
What section is that, please? I got minutes of, is it?
I think it was either the first, second, or third reference to
Under operations and finance?
no, it was, it was a sentence to allow them to such, I don't have it.
Let's see if there's a statement.
And go to the other maybe, I'm trying to make some of that. The other one was on the, canopy. The motion that's in the statement is not correct. The motion gives the impression that we were approving drawings, and we didn't have any drawings, but we were approving was for the architect to render the drawings.
Okay, when Mr. Miller made that motion, and I'm sure that was word for word, what was made.
I would have to take and then you repeated it before we voted on it. Now, you repeated it different from what he said, but we didn't approve drawings. We didn't have drawings at the time. It was approved.
Under superintendent's report.
Yeah, we see.
I think that the verbiage, you know, the idea, it sounds like to me the idea of what was being stated or what the motion was made for is clear though.
No, no, it's not. It's very misleading because it said it's to approve the 2 drawings. We did not receive 2 drawings. So I'm saying,
Oh, yeah, it's
what the motion was to approve the
one
rendering.
wrong, whatever.
Okay. Drawings, renderings, I mean, I think those splitting some.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think what we're getting at is if you strike the 2 drawings,
Just take out
Yes,
the
what we're talking about, I believe, was approving $600 for the drawings.
Right.
We didn't have any drawings. If we removed the 2 drawings, I think that might alleviate.
Right.
That's fine.
Point of clarification.
Sure.
If a person puts in their motion something that is not actually what was said, because there was some back and forth with it being rendered to
Right.
which one does the board want me to put?
So is she saying that if a board member makes a motion and the motion is inaccurate and we vote on it, is that?
But it might be best to put the one that I repeat, and that way it's, I can be corrected by the person who made that motion. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that question.
On the one at the, top, it says, I move that we postpone the approval of the minutes until board documents up to an hour, so that's not what I said. It was, I move that we will postpone the approval of the minutes until board documents up, so that we can actually look at the video. And I went back and listened to that to make sure it was correct.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
All right, yes.
in most cases, I don't see why it has to be exact, you know, as long as it's basically what you're saying, if everybody else agrees with that. Just like me saying, sometimes, you know, I don't see why that, needs to be put into the minutes.
Well, if it's a request, you know, I'd like the record to reflect, that's what it has to be. And so if that's what's in italics on there. And we all do that. We all say our
Yeah,
plenty of
that's what I'm
times.
saying,
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes, Madam Chair, when the minutes come out and the wording, depending on who made the statement, is grammatically corrected. So it reads grammatically correct, but if other people say it and they insert some grammar that might not be grammatically correct, then it's stated in the minutes. So if we want to clean it up for one person, we need to clean it up for everybody.
all right, we'll do that under those, the reflections.
Point of clarification again. So, because this has come up before, that I want it verbatim, and then.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We'll correct it to be the same for everybody. If someone makes a statement to reflect, they'll all be the same. They're all word for word.
Okay.
Okay? So there won't be any difference under the record reflecting. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, on the motion to approve those drawings, I'm listed as abstaining, I'm not abstaining, I have no vote.
Okay, we'll correct that.
I think there was another one that you had no vote on that I can say.
No, it has no vote there, under field trips. All right. Those in favor of the minutes for the October 20th, 2015 board meeting signify by raising of the right hand. With the corrections, yes. She's making those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposition. Abstention. Is that opposition or abstention? Ms. Hartman? I'm sorry, I got it quickly.
Opposition.
Opposition. Abstention. Ms. McDaniel.
And Madam Chair, I do want the record to reflect that I abstained because I would like to see the corrected minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We move to the superintendent's report.
Madam Chair, members of the board, first of all, let me inform you that tomorrow at around 12 o'clock, I, along with other members of the Midland Superintendent's Group, will assemble with some members of leadership from Fort Jackson to sign a resolution indicating our support of military families. You may or may not be aware that I am the chairman of the Midland Superintendent's Group, which includes all of the school district superintendents in the Midlands and also the Orangeburg district. And we were approached by some of the leadership from Fort Jackson asking us to, in essence, reaffirm our commitment to supporting military families. And of course, we were more than willing to do so. And so tomorrow there will be a press conference at 12 at the Lexington 2 district office. I think we'll have several dignitaries there to include, I think, Molly Spearman, State Superintendent. I think we will have some local TV coverage as well. But tomorrow we will be signing a resolution pledging our support for military families. Also, I am very excited to say that I had the chance to witness the Fairfield Central High School and Fairfield Middle School orchestra students perform at the Rotary Club today. And to say that this program was only launched a matter of weeks ago, these students did an absolutely tremendous job. I would like to say that the teacher of that class is truly the right person for the job, and I have no doubt that she is going to build an extraordinary orchestral program in Fairfield County. So I'll be on the lookout for that. Also, I want to bring some clarification to some conversations we had on last month about overnight and out-of-state field trips. And just to provide some clarity, with the exception of the 4 field trips where fundraising will occur, and those were the chorus trip to the Bahamas and Orlando, Florida, the drama trip to New York, and the Go and Odyssey Academy trip to Puerto Rico. All other trips are funded within the context of the budget that was approved. I want everyone to be clear about that. So with the exception of those 4 trips, all other trips have been funded or will be funded in the context of the budget that has already been approved. There is no request for those trips for any additional funding from the board, nor will there be any request in the future. Those are funded in the context of the budget that was approved. To add some further clarification, Dr. Tyndall, as you know, who is the director of the Go and Odyssey Academy, informed me today that she is no longer planning to take her students to Puerto Rico. So she has decided that she will not move forward with that trip. There may be some questions as to why she elected to do so, and I suspect that there may be multiple things that led to her decision, but she has since said she will not attempt to provide those students with that experience. And so I wanted to make sure that I brought some clarity in terms of where we stood as it relates to the field trip. As it relates to the New York trip, the chorus trip to Orlando and the chorus trip to the Bahamas, one of 3 things will occur. Either they will raise all of the funds that are necessary to take those trips, either they will raise some of the money, and then those particular principals will find money within the context of the budget that has already been approved to supplement the remainder. Or finally, they will raise some of the money and will come back to me with a request to come back to the board requesting some additional funding. At this point in time, they are currently fundraising, and therefore I can't tell you which one of those 3 options will ultimately be realized. Are there any questions?
Madam Chair, what were those 4 field trips again? Orlando, Bahamas, and what were the other 2?
In New York and now Puerto Rico has been canceled.
New York and what?
It was Puerto Rico, but it's canceled.
So it's just 3.
Just 3.
Okay. And If there are no objections from the board, Madam Chair, as the schools are looking for money to fund trips, I'm asking that they do not use money from instructional line items. In other words, if you have money for supplies on the instructional function, that they not use that money because that money should be used for the students in their classrooms, not for field trips. So if they short, if I heard not read correctly, he said they will come back to the board. But it'd be very difficult for us to determine whether or not students not being served with the money is taken from instruction and used for field trips.
And if I may, yeah.
I'm confused, you're talking about the three, which the fundraising is taking place right now?
No, he said that the other field trips, that they will be looking for the money for the field trips, and they don't, and it could be those out, well, any field trip, if they're looking for money for field trips, and they don't have the money already budgeted, which it should have been budgeted when we passed the budget, and they need additional money, they need to come back to the board versus moving money from an instructional line item. Most districts don't allow any movement from instructional line items.
Dr. Green, didn't you say that it'd be taken somewhere out of the budget?
Yeah, what I said is they'll find it in the context. Well, and so it could come from several places in the budget. Okay, it may come from canteen money that the high schools have.
I didn't make
it
the statement, Madam Chair, because I need him to tell us now, because obviously he didn't give us a recommendation where it's gonna come from now. I'm just asking that when we take the money, when the principals are looking for the money, that they not utilize money that's already been budgeted for instruction, that is face-to-face classroom students.
Okay, that's statement for the record.
That is a request. I said that there are no objections from the board.
But we approved the budget, we're not here to entertain a motion to micromanage what's.
Madam Chair, that's not micromanaging. Most students, most districts already have that in policy, maybe in policy, I don't know.
Okay, well, we're not going to entertain just a upstart motion. If you'd like to create a motion for next time or something that could be on the agenda, that's different. You know, you're saying,
If you
that's
make-
something that you'd like to put on the record, then let's
If you
do it.
make a statement and you say no objection, none of the board members object, then that is what's supposed to be carried out. And if the board member objects, then you call for the vote.
Well, I'm objecting until it's a motion, then we're not going to go
But
forward.
Madam Chair, that's not Robert's rules of order, and you know it's not. You mentioned the board chair should turn it.
Well, I second
Well,
it.
it sounds like
If she wants to put in a
you're making a
motion,
motion
if
that's
she's
not
making a
on the
motion, then I'm
Yeah,
seconding
but the
that
item
motion.
wasn't on the agenda. If the item would have been on the agenda, it would have been appropriate. And he said that he was going to list out the things that we were to discuss. It's not, my part is not listed out.
You can't vote if he brought that up to change, because we voted last meeting, excuse me, Madam Chair, can I speak? As far as, he said when we voted last time, all we were doing was voting to go on the trips. Now he's changing it.
He's not asking for our approval in any way. It's
He
an
said
update.
he said he would have to come back to us for approval for any money. That's what it was stated in the last meeting.
So Ms. Humble, so what have I
Is
changed?
that not correct?
That is exactly correct. So what have I changed?
Aren't you saying they can take it out of the budget now?
No. Ms. Hall, I will restate this once again.
Okay.
As I said, one of three things will occur. So we are speaking in terms of the future. And I don't know what the future may hold. As I said, number one, they may raise all of the money necessary. So that
Yeah,
may
I
happen.
got that.
Okay. The second thing that may happen is they may raise some of the money, and principals may find money within the context of the current budget. That may happen. Or thirdly, what may happen is they may raise some of the money, and I come back to the board requesting additional funding.
And Madam
So
Chair, that
there
needs to
is-
change.
but-
Because at the last meeting, he did not tell us that he was going to find it within the context of the budget, which I'm okay with that. I'm not arguing that. All I'm saying is, we budgeted the money based on what the principals requested for the students in the classroom. And if they need to find the money for the trip, all I'm asking is that they not take money away from instruction. And they come back to the board if they need the additional money.
So, Madam Chair, if I may just see if we can wrap it up with this here. Once we get to the point of fundraising and determining if we need to come back or if we need to get money out of the context of the budget, we can address that at that point in time.
But you
I-
never will say, Madam Chair.
So you're gonna come
Never
back
will say.
and have it approved if
Well, there's nothing.
they need any extra
What-
that they're not
If I need to come to the board and request additional funding, that is something that I will come to you with.
But you're saying if it's not in the budget.
What do you mean it's not in the budget?
Didn't you say that they couldn't find it in the budget?
I said, if we can't do it in the context of the budget that was approved.
Right, so therefore, if they find it in the budget, they don't have to come, you're not coming back to us.
Yes.
Well, see, that's not how you presented the vote last time. You said that the vote was only for the trip, not for the funds.
And the vote is still only for the trip, isn't it?
You said you would come back to the board to get it approved if you needed additional funds.
Right.
If we need an additional fund.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Jackson.
Am I missing something here? I thought that this was just an update.
Yes.
And that we're not having to do any action. This is about the future. This isn't something we got to act on tonight. He isn't asking for any.
Well, if they're going tomorrow and they did that, then it would be something that's happening.
What he's doing is to lay out what could happen in the future, and when that future time does come, then we have to cross that bridge when we get to it.
And what I'm asking Reverend Jackson is if we have to cross that bridge, that if he's going to be taking money from face-to-face instruction from the budget, that he let his principals know they can't do that. And if he needs the money, he come back to the board, and then we give him the money at that point.
If I don't think we're going to do that anyway.
Well, it's not what we think. It's our job to put the rules out there. The governance principles, not even open it up to discretion.
I've been there, and I know principals he's not going to do that.
Yeah, but you ain't been there in how many years?
He's not going to rob that. He's not going to rob that particular category, and I know that.
All right, is that it?
Madam Chair, I would like the record to reflect that none of the board members objected to money coming from instruction. So again, I'm stating that no objections, and I want that on the record. Then the money that principals find for field trip should not come from a transfer of funds from instruction.
That's your statement, Mr. King. That is not a without objection or whatever.
But Madam Chair,
Because I very clearly said, well, then I object. We will not have a motion, we will not have a directive from this board unless it comes.
But you just one person, so you put your
No, it's not on the agenda. When it's on the agenda, then we can
It's on the
act on
agenda.
it.
If he presents it, Madam Chair, he just put it on the agenda.
Like Pastor Jackson says, it's an update. It's not.
But it's a different update from what he gave us initially.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand why y'all making a big deal out of us not taking money out of the classroom that's in the budget for instruction. I'm not understanding that.
Nobody's making a big deal. We're trying to do it procedurally.
No, you're trying to do it in such a way that you protect something that doesn't need to be protected.
Well, I don't have a clue what that is, so.
Oh, you know what it is.
Madam Chair, members of the board, next thing on the agenda, and there is one error here. I am recommending that the board approve the $100 cash incentive. And it says gift card, that is an error. It should be a cash incentive to all full-time district employees and parties. I had something. That's all. It provides a little information. That's all. But I am making a recommendation that we provide all full-time employees or permanent employees, to include all regular full-time and part-time bus drivers and adult ed teachers, a $100 Christmas incentive. The total cost of the incentive, as you will see on the document that I just forwarded to you, will be approximately $70,000. That cost includes approximately $62,500 for the incentive and $7,500 for the district's share of the benefits. I am making a recommendation that this money come from the board legal fee account. We have budgeted $282,707 in that account. Remarkably, we have been doing extremely well with very low legal fees. To date, we have only expended approximately $9,481 out of that account, which would leave currently a balance of $273, $226. As you will see, if we pull the $70,000 from the legal fees account, that will give us a balance in that account of $226. On last year, just to give you some context, we ended up spending a total of $84,635 out of the legal fees account, but we are on pace to even do better than that this year. And that is my recommendation, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Thank you, Dr. Green.
Madam Chair.
With that said, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'll not cut across you.
In the past, I've made reference to,
We'll do a
Is there-
motion first before discussion.
Oh, okay.
You have to let me discuss it.
okay, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that take the superintendent's recommendation that we give all employees, as is stated here, part-time bus drivers, etc., $100 Christmas incentive, divided into second.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. Pastor Jackson. Ms. Hartman?
Yes, in the past, I've asked, why isn't this in the budget? Is it not?
It's not, and it should be. And to be honest with you, I have already put in my calendar for March to make sure we add it to the budget.
Because we asked this last year
We did,
about being put in the
and we
budget.
all sat here and talked about the budget, nobody brought it up, and didn't think
Well,
of it in March, I'm thinking about it in November.
Madam
So
Chair, can the superintendent
we'll,
respond to her questions since he put the budget together?
I'm gonna continue to speak.
Yeah, but I'm asking you if the superintendent can
So
respond.
what we did, so what I've done is put a calendar alarm on my phone here, so we will have it in our budget for next year.
And Madam Chair, can the superintendent respond since he was sitting there when it was mentioned last year?
And so will you, Ms. McDaniel.
We were all sitting around.
But the superintendent took the budget together and the board was not offered to add anything to the budget. And things that we mentioned when we discussed the budget was ignored, depending on where it came from. So all I'm asking is the superintendent's, statement as to why it was not part of the budget.
Because I didn't think to put it in the budget.
You didn't think to put it in the budget? Thank you.
Madam Chair, another thing is that, as I stated before, it seems like we're using the legal fees again as a slush fund to take out anything you want to take out of it. I commented when we budgeted so much in that fund, why did we budget so much? So now again, we're taking these type of things out of it.
So
And we're not even
employee
halfway through the
incentive
school year.
Right, employee incentive is considered a slush fund?
No, the legal fees. The legal.
You said what we're taking out.
Right, no, what we're taking out of, you're taking it out of the legal fees, right?
That's the recommendation, yes.
And as you commented, that we, they've been low, but yet, how much did we budget in legal fees?
282,707.
And we spent how much last year?
84,635.
As I stated, we were budgeting way too high, and we really didn't need to be budgeting that high. So again, we've done this in the past, take other things out of that account. I want to put that on record, please. Thank you.
Just a little level, if I may give you some context, Ms. Hartman, the reason that the legal fees account is where it is we look back historically and go back as early as 2011, 2012. We expended $351,402 from the legal fees account, and so we have been doing better over the last couple of years. What I will tell you is, I think after the third year of reduced legal fees, we are probably at a point where I would personally feel safe in reducing that account. But I wouldn't necessarily look at 2 years as being a trend. I would rather be safe that we have enough to accommodate the expenditures versus not having enough. So I want to just provide some context as to where the budgeted figure comes from. It comes from, historically, those legal expenses have been much more than they are currently.
Well, we also have plenty of money in the fund balance to take care of situations as well. Am I not correct now?
So, Madam Chair, members of the board, what I would say, Ms. Hartman, is that would not be, in my opinion, appropriate to not budget what you consider to be an adequate amount of money and then just plan to pull it from the fund balance. I think what you do is to budget what you think is an adequate amount of money and not have to go into the fund
Well, I
balance.
agree as far as adequate, and that's why this should have been, if we're gonna have a trend to give bonuses, it's having the budget to begin with.
I agree.
We agree.
No, I was getting ready to ask you that question because I had actually looked up, went back, and I've seen where, I think 2011, 2012, that we were $351,000. And I see the trend going down, but that's what I was going to ask Mr. Green, Dr. Green. But since he must have been reading my mind, so I don't have a question.
Mr. Brett?
Yeah, on the memo that we received, number one, it says the total cost $70,000, including $7,500 for share of benefits related to incentives. I just want to be clear, are the employees getting $100 or are they going to get $100 and then you have to take the employee contribution for retirement and whatnot after that?
And that's a very good question, Mr. Frick. So right now, what is proposed is that they would receive $100. That doesn't necessarily mean that it would equate to $100 cash. Fringes, taxes would be taken out of that $100.
So the incentive of $100 minus whatever the appropriate deductions are
Yes.
for whatever the tax.
Yeah.
Well, that also would include on benefits, right?
Pardon?
The decrease on the other hand will also.
Yes, if we had $4.5 million more back to the fund balance, which we discussed later, when we to the audit report. I'm not understanding why we didn't take this from an account other than the budget account, just because there have been no legal issues up to current, does not mean there won't be any legal issues later. And your legal account is just like insurance. And I just request an explanation as to the $4.5 million more back from 1450 while we get the finance from another account other than yours account.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Mr. McDaniel, we just felt that was the most appropriate.
As well as last year's incentive came from the same account.
I don't think you were told that we did this in last year.
I think it worked.
It was, that's why it was discussed last year, the same thing.
That
So
was,
what was the response to the question I asked? I mean, you were not doing what you said.
It was that we felt that was a good place to pull it from, looking at the budget.
Which then means that we probably do exactly what Ms. Martin said, we put extra money in the account so that we can use it for other things rather than put the money where we need to be budget. Because if we took it out of the legal account last year, then when the budget was reviewed and presented to us, it was just the common sense that they put that in budget for this year. And they won't replace it.
And Madam Chair, if I may provide clarification, no one put any extra money in a legal account. The legal account has the same amount that was budgeted before I came. When I came here, it was 282,707, and it has been 282,707 every year since I've been here. Now, if there is a request to reduce the amount of money that is budgeted for legal fees, since we are doing such a good job of not incurring such exorbitant fees, then I think that is a reasonable recommendation. But the suggestion that somehow we will put additional money in there is simply not accurate.
Well, I had requested when we had the budget to reduce it.
right, and that was your input, and you voted against the budget as a result, so,
Right.
that's why we voted.
But what she's addressing, Madam Chair, is the fact that the superintendent just stated that if you wanted to change, then you asked. And she just stated that she asked for it to change and it wasn't changed. And if we move it towards excellence, then we should be doing the same thing that was done before just because it was done. We should have a good explanation for it.
But it takes a majority vote to switch that.
So it just takes superintendent and his full votes is what it takes.
Majority majority vote. So the discussion is exhausted. Superintendent's recommendation is that the board provide the $100 incentive to all permanent employees that would include all regular, full and part-time bus drivers and adult ed teachers. We have a motion and a second. Those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposition? 1. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would like the record to reflect that I vote with the federal debt because we do have great employees, but I'm also concerned about the poor administration of the budget, and that this should have been part of the budget and not a separate line item. And the fact that we received the documentation explaining where the money was coming from at the board meeting, and it should be sent to us in our board packets. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to reflect that this administration saved $4.5 million. And you talk about poor, I don't believe that it came out of anybody's mouth. Anytime you say $4.5 million. Put that in the record.
And Madam
Mr.
Chair,
Dillon, we didn't save that amount, that was extra income that we got. We got more revenue. We got more revenue this year.
It's still savings.
But
It's
it
$4.5
didn't actually come from the other.
Put that in.
Madam Chair, while we were bragging about saving $4.5 million at the town hall meeting on Thursday night, there were a lot of parents who were concerned about us not providing transportation for the students for after-school programs. And if the after-school programs are helping our children, then rather than saving money, if that's what we want to call it, saving money, then we need to be using the money so that our children can get the best that they can.
And I was in attendance, Ms. McDaniel, as you know, and I understood from that Dr. Green was going to get some folks on that, do some research into that. So I think that's being explored.
His expression at the meeting was that it was very costly, Madam Chair.
It could be, is what I
And that was what he was left with. He did not tell them he was going to try to work it out.
I didn't say work it out, I said explore it.
And he didn't say that.
That's what I heard.
Okay.
Well, I want to say that would be good to have after-school programs, and also as well, I had brought up in the past, on the summer programs, if we can include in the summer programs, like at least 2 months, and include all the students.
Madam Chair.
Okay.
I have to say this. We talk about the children. That's the reason all of us, the board, administration, everybody out there, went for the children. None of us would do it. That's what we're here for. The children, the students. And so, don't tell me about this and that, and you vote against the children. Don't vote against the children. Let the record reflect. Anytime you talk about the children, don't vote against the children.
Who voted against
It's
it?
saying, I'm speaking now. We got to protect the children. Anytime, I'm voting for the children. I don't care what it is. If it's something extra that we need to do with the bus, I'm with that. But don't go on one hand and say, I'm going to say this, but you vote against the children. Be careful what you say.
I'm asking you who's voting against the
Okay,
children.
we're moving on.
No, I just want to follow.
We're moving on, we're moving on to curriculum and instruction.
Nobody's
We're
voting
moving
against
on to curriculum and
I'm just
instruction.
saying, no one's
Dr.
voting against the
Edwards.
children.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. Tonight, this assessment update will provide an overview of the state assessments administered during the 2014-15 school year. ACT and ACT Aspire assessments were administered this past spring for the first time and reflect college and career readiness standards. These results should be viewed as one part of our students' academic portrait of their college and career readiness. Additionally, assessment results from the South Carolina PASS assessment, inner course assessments, 8 advanced placement, and dual credit courses will also be shared in this brief presentation. In addition to the presentation, we have included in board docs just a quick state assessment at a glance, which will show you which assessments have been administered or will be administered for this upcoming school year and what were administered last school year. The ACT Aspire was given for grades 3 through 8 in reading, English, math, and writing. The ST Pass was administered last spring in grades 4 through 8. The ACT was administered for all students in grade 11 in reading, English, writing, math, and science. Work Keys was also administered in grade 11, and the inter-course assessments were administered in high school and in some instances, the middle school in Algebra 1, English 1, Biology, and U.S. History and Constitution.
Good evening. As Dr. Edwards stated, I'd like to give you a brief overview of the assessments for the year 2014-2015. The first assessment that we would like to look at is the ACT, American College Test. This chart will show you numbers for graduating seniors. We'll talk about the 11th grade ACT a little bit later in the presentation. Now, students who met the benchmark for ACT have a 50% chance of receiving a B or better, or a 75% chance of a C or better on a similar college credit-bearing course. Now, if you look at the scores from 2014 to 2015, you will note that we had increases in English, math, reading, and science. The composite score in 2014 was 16.6. 2015, it increased to 18.2. Next assessment is the SAT.
Madam Chair, can I ask a question on the ACT before we begin?
Sure.
From 2012 to 13 to 14 to 86, we had what appears to be about 40, 30 drop in the number of students. When we really think see what happened with the number of students taking the test, are we encouraging them to take a different test, or are they just not? We know why we had a decrease in the number of students, which is started increasing at 15, which is good.
And so what I will say, Ms. McDaniel, is these numbers strongly correlate to the number of students that are matriculated for the institutions. And so that's what I generally look at. I think there should be some consistency in terms of the number of students that take SAT and ACT and the number of students that aspire to go to four-year institutions. I would say that it is kind of misguided to say that we want to encourage all students to go take SAT and ACT. The ACT and SAT is only of value if you are aspiring to go to four-year institutions. If you aspire to go to business sector college, if you aspire to go to the military, if you know that you are going straight to work, then very often those students may elect not to take the SAT or ACT. What I would probably say to you then is I would hope that that is a result of very purposeful counseling. And so we can meet with individual students and talk about what your career aspirations are and goals, and give them some guidance in terms of what suits their particular features.
Okay, but to answer the question, you believe, but you don't know for sure, that we counsel the students and encourage the students to take the test to go in whatever direction they're going to when they graduate? That's what I'm hearing you say.
I'm confused. Is that Ms. McDaniel?
That we are, you would think, you believe that we are counseling the students to take whatever test that guides them in whichever direction they're going to graduate, versus just all the students just taking ACT. Or did I misunderstand?
So what I would say is, what each individual counselor would do is to advise a student to proceed with a test based on what he sees his future to hold. And so if you aspire to go to a four-year institution, then your counselors are going to encourage you to take the SAT or ACT.
Okay, now how is that different from what I heard?
I couldn't quite understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah, I can understand.
Okay, but bottom line is, we are counseling the students into the direction that we believe are best based on what they tell us that they want to do when they graduate.
Yes, ma'am. But Mr. Daniel, I also want to note, so we can be clear, and you spoke about 2012, but I think it is important to note that the number of students, even from 14 to 15, increased from 70 to 86. And our composite score also increased to 18.2, which I think is pretty remarkable. I think we should we should really applaud the high school and their senior class for doing an outstanding job.
And not know our staff all the time for our children, and always pushing it better, and that will change. But do we know how many students for each one of these graduation years? How many graduating seniors we have?
I can tell you that off the top of my head. I can tell you in 2015 we had about 165 graduating seniors.
165.
165.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
That would be from this testing, right?
Pardon me?
That would be from this testing, right?
And then we had 165 graduating seniors. So in other words, out of the 165 graduating seniors, we had 86 who took the ACT.
Right.
Which in and of itself, Ms. Hartman and Mr. Daniel, is even higher than the percentage of students that we send forward.
Madam Chair, Dr. Gray, what happens if the students do not take the ACT and the SAT, and they decide to go to college? They're graduating, okay, what happens then?
And so that's a very good question, Ms. Hartman. And I've been doing some pretty extensive research on that. There are approximately 850 colleges and universities all across the country that do not require ACT or SAT as a substantial part of the admissions process. These colleges, I think, is what they call, and I wrote that down so I'm sure I have the verbiage right. They're what they call test optional or test flexible institutions. And just to give you some examples of some of those institutions that no longer require SAT or ACT as a substantial part of college acceptance. Presbyterian, right here in South Carolina, Wake Forest University, Hampton University, Temple University, George Washington University.
Is USC one of them?
No, USC not one. Okay, but there are an increased number of colleges and universities all across the state that are not, all across the country, that are not even requiring ACT and SAT score as a part of the admission process.
I know that under special services, I don't know what's been put in place to double check that these students, if they choose to go to college, their IEPs are up to date to be able to take the ACT with accommodations if they need to.
I don't want to get too off track on that at all.
Well, I'm just referring to because of this testing to make sure that they're lined up to take the testing, because see, that has to be done before. They have to have their testing done in the last 3 years.
And so we do periodic reviews, Ms. Hartman, of the students' IEP to be sure that they're up to date and that is it.
Well, I just know something happened last year on the student, so I'm hoping we put more things in place. I'm asking you, do you know of anything they put more in place than they have in the past?
No, ma'am.
Could you check on that and try to put more things in place where they can double check?
I'll take a look at that.
So we won't have a problem with other students. Thank you.
SAT,
But Madam Chair, while that is going, is there something else we can argue about?
okay, for SAT, and you'll note that from 2014 to 2015, Our students showed increases in all areas, reading, math, and writing. In 2014, our reading score was 411. In 2015, it was 438. The mean score for math in 2014 was 419. In 2015, it was 428. Our writing score in 2014 was 396, and it increased to 425 in 2015. Also note that the composite for 2014 was 1227. In 2015, it was 1290. Fairfield showed a 63-point increase on SAT scores, which tied the district for 9th in the state for districts showing in the largest games.
So Madam Chair, this will be the same explanation Dr. Green as to why we decreased by so many students taking the test in private versus 14 and 15 or 15.
Yes, ma'am, the explanation would be the same, Mr. Daniel. And so, if we think about it from this perspective, not understanding how many duplicate students we would have, we had 36 students in that senior class to take the SAT. We had 86 students to take the 86 to take the ACT. And so that gives us somewhere around 186, 125, somewhere around those students who ended up testing, if we didn't have duplicate students. And I think if you look at that through the context of how many students ended up going to a four-year institution, which somewhere is around about 35% for our population, you can see we are testing far more students than we are actually sending to four-year institutions. And so those are the figures that I look at, Mr. Daniel. I think there should be some correlation between the number of students that are taking ACT and SAT and the number of students that are matriculated in four-year institutions. I continue to say it's misguided just to encourage everyone to take the ACT and SAT if a four-year institution is not something they aspire to.
So the ones who are going to take them to school, we are guiding them to take the ACT.
No, ma'am. So a student is aspiring to go to Midlands Technical College, for example, then we guide them to take the compass assessment. Because Midlands Tech requires the compass assessment, not the ACT or SAT. And so for someone who were to take the ACT and then all of a sudden say, now I want to go to Midlands Tech, well, you've not taken the test that's required to gain interest. Because they're going to require that you take the compass assessment.
Okay, is that a statewide test or is that a Midlands State test?
Well, compass is a national test, but Midlands Tech is not the only college that requires it.
And what is it called?
Compass.
Can you spell it?
Yeah.
So we have test scores for that test?
You
I
do
don't
right.
remember seeing it.
No, they don't require it.
So you're saying Midlands Tech gives that?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm really concerned then because if we're showing a clear picture about graduating seniors, we're showing the SAT test and we're showing the AC test, and then we have a group that we are guided to take compass because they really want to your institution. And should we not have some indication of how those students get on that test?
So Ms. McDaniel, that's not something that the state reports out. That's not data that is collected. And so that's not something the state reports out. That's not something that Midlands Tech reports to the state, to my knowledge. So that's information we don't have.
We can't ask for it from the institution so we can follow our students.
And what do you mean follow the student?
So we can know how they did it.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, that's not anything I've ever heard requested from a technical college. But understand, Mr. McDaniel, the collection of SAT and ACT data is not something that's provided by any college. That is something that is provided by the testing organizations.
Okay, so but on compass, is there a testing organization that's doing compass?
No.
It's not at each individual school?
Yeah, each individual school does. So if a kid wants to go to Midlands Tech or Northeastern Tech or Trident Tech or whatever college they may want to attend.
Okay, then how are those students going to a 2-year school and then matriculate over to a 4-year school if they're not taking ACT or SAT?
And so what can happen, Mr. McDaniel, and I don't want to say for every college, but let's say you entered Midlands Technical College and you were admitted based on your competence assessment. If you were a part of a program where you left Midlands Tech and went to USC, they're not going to they're not going to admit you based on any kind of SAT or ACT score. That's going to be based on your performance over the last 2 years. The whole purpose of the ACT or SAT is to predict the likelihood that you'll be successful in college. So if you have been in college for 2 years, no one needs to look at a test to see how successful you are. They'll look at how you perform over the last 2 years.
What I have seen is students apply for Clemson, USC, and maybe some other schools, but I know those two. And if their score was not high enough, because those colleges, they give them some kind of grade based on the number of students they accept at school so high on the SAT and or the ACT. So to keep students from putting down their grade for whatever the purpose is, those students, they will take that SAT or ACT score and they will allow those students to go to Midlands Tech for the first year or try it in or whatever one of the technical schools. And if they make a certain grade at that technical school, then they automatically matriculate to that 4-year school. But in order for them to do that, they have to have the SAT score and whatever else they evaluate them on to see that they may have missed them off by a certain amount.
No, that's not accurate, Mr. McDaniel.
They seem like
Yeah, so what happens is, if you go to a technical school, and what you're referring to are bridge programs, and then again, the bridge programs at Clemson and University of South Carolina, what they look at is not what you did on the SAT or ACT when you were a senior in high school. They're going to evaluate your transcript based on what you did in college.
They use the SAT score, and I know what I'm talking about, because I know students that happen to.
Well, Mr. McDaniel, I've had multiple conversations with the presidents of Midland Technical College. I can
Midlands Tech,
say,
they only take the technical school in the state of South Carolina. The only thing I'm just saying is we should always make sure that we are encouraging our students to do the most that they can do. That's all I'm saying. So to advise a child not to take the SAT or ACT or whatever, I'm sure you got the reason. The only thing I'm saying is that we're going to track some of these students, or we're going to look at how the students are doing on the test, and some of it, for ACT and SAT, if there is a way, we just think you don't know, then we should be doing the same thing for comps. And I'm just asking you to see if there is a way that we can get that data. I don't know why we got to make a big argument out of every request or every discussion, depending on where we come from.
I don't know either, Mr. McDaniel.
Well, hopefully you will find the answer.
I don't know.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, on the, is it, Dr. Green asked, I guess, if we want to answer it.
Yeah, fine.
What's the difference in taking the ACT and SAT?
There's really no difference in all. I mean, it's just your preference. The ACT is structured a little differently than the SAT.
I didn't know whether it was advantage as far as the colleges and so.
No advantage. I mean, virtually every college in the United States accepts both. But they are primarily, the whole purpose of an ACT and SAT is to gain admittance to 4 years.
Thank you.
Advanced placement. This next slide will show you the 2-year progression of scores on the AP exam. And as you see across the top, you see the score levels. And typically it goes, AP exams are 1 to 5. Our students fell in one of 4 categories, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now in 2015, we'll show there's a decrease in the percentage of students scoring at level 1. But you do want to see a decrease in that level because that is your lower level. For level 2, our increase was from 36% to 47%. Students scoring at level 3 went from 7% to 11%. And students obtaining a score of a 4 went from 0% to 1%. This next advanced placement slide will show you the number of students who obtained a score of a 3 or above on the advanced placement. Now, many colleges and universities, if a student scores a level 3 or above, they can earn college credit. Now, you'll see, like, for example, in 2014, we had a total of 3 students who scored a 3 in the area of biology. In 2015, we had 9 students who scored a 3 or above, 1 in language and composition, 3 on calculus, and 5 on biology. And one of the calculus scores we actually had was a level 4.
If if I may speak to that for 1 second.
Madam Chair, before we speak to that, and I don't mean no harm, Mr. Rivers, allow me to have the floor.
Please
So,
do.
I know you want to get me to say this, so I'm going to say it in his presence, that I'm extremely proud of the work that him and his staff has done to get our students to score 9 students on the AP class, and I want to give him a hand for that.
I really appreciate that, Ms. McDaniel. I'm delighted. And if I may,
Can you say how you, did you do something different?
no, I don't get any credit for that, Ms. Harmon. I'll
You know, but
just
the
say,
teacher did something different.
yeah, I get blamed for it, so I guess I should get a
He
little
showed
credit.
it.
But let me say this. I would really like to commend Ms. Swilling and her entire staff who have been working very hard to really challenge our students to be more successful in these AP programs. You know, I had a conversation actually with Mr. Miller earlier this year, last year before the AP scores even came out. He'll probably tell you this. And I said, Mr. Miller, I guarantee you we'll have students to pass AP calculus. And we've not had anyone to pass AP calculus for as far back as we have been able to research. Okay, and I'm not saying that we've not had anyone, but these three students who passed AP calculus this past year are the first students that I have been able to locate data showing that we had students to pass. And the simple reason that I knew we would have students to pass calculus on last year was that I had an opportunity to witness the commitment that I saw from students, and it was next to none. And I also had the opportunity to see top quality instruction. And I know when top-notch instruction comes in unison with commitment, we're going to have success. But I also want us to acknowledge that even those students who did not make a 3 or better will benefit from this AP Calculus program. I think we had about 4 students who made 2s, and they were disappointed that they didn't make 3s. But I can almost guarantee you when those students matriculated to their respective universities, they'll breeze through calculus that first year because of the experience they had at Fairfield Central High School. So, you know, that is something definitely to applaud the staff on. We have even increased the number of AP students again this year. We've added AP chemistry to the mix. So we are continuing to challenge our students even further. But I would be remiss if I did not recognize Ms. Swilling and her staff for putting in a lot of work to include after school, to include Saturdays, and those are the type of things that need to occur for students to see success, particularly in those kinds of AP assessments. Thank you.
Mr. Hanks, question. Once the teachers, the AP teachers reach their designation, are they doing continuing education from every year?
Yes, Mr. Daniel, we have been sending them, and for example, the AP Calculus teacher, Ms. Mazzanati, has been teaching AP Calculus for, I bet you 20 some odd years, if not more. But she has been going to training already. She continues to go to training to continue to work on her skills, in addition to the English teacher, the history teacher, everybody is going to training, because that is a large part of kids being successful on the AP exam, is for teachers to understand how to prepare students for the assessment. It's not necessarily that students who have knowledge of work ethic, or teachers don't have a commitment. Part of it is understanding how the assessment is structured, therefore knowing how to prepare students to be successful. And I think we are beginning to master that.
Madam Chair, I don't want to take anything away from our other teachers in the past that have taught the AP courses, because I'm sure did the best that they could with what they had. And one of the things that, and the reason I asked Dr. Burnett was that we were not constantly sending teachers so they could constantly stay up on what they needed to do for the students to pass. So again, I do commend you, thank you for doing that, and it shows in the students' results.
The next area we'd like to look at are dual credit classes. As you see across the slide on your screen, subjects that were offered were sociology, English 101, English 102, psychology, and theater. Down on the left-hand column, note that those are the letter grades that students could earn. We only had one student that did not pass a dual credit course in 2015. Now, in addition to the courses we offered in 2014, this year we've added Math 110, Math 111, and Physics 201.
Ms. Copeland, if I may interject. I think it's important to note, once again, an outstanding job by our students to continue to push the envelope. This is the first time, I think, in the history of Fairfield Central High School that we have offered Math 110 and Math 111 and Physics 201. And it's important to note also that, as we talk about students being successful on AP assessment, for students to be successful on dual credit classes, the net effect is still the same. I mean, these are still high school, college credits that these students are earning. And so, we continue to push students further and further to challenge themselves to do more than they even wondered or imagined that they could. And so we are very, very proud that, first of all, we have enough students to qualify. And that's important because you just can't offer Math 110 unless you get a certain number of students that are successful on the compass assessment in order to take it. So there are several schools that they want to offer the 110 or the 111 or the Physics 201, but students have to qualify to take that course. And we're very proud that our students have made that mark. Thank you.
That, looking at offering any credit courses coming from four-year institutions.
Four-year institutions?
Correct.
I
They got Lancaster, that USC Lancaster came, I can't remember when the bill came out.
And so, yeah.
USC Lancaster.
Yes, there's two years.
We were told to do with what is it?
End of course. This past year,
I'm sorry. Did I get answered?
Yeah, so to answer your question, Ms. Hall, Mr. McDaniel. And so USC Lancaster is a two-year institution, Ms. McDaniel. Just for clarification, USC Lancaster is a two-year institution. It's not a four-year.
It is a 2 year.
Yeah, it's a two-year. But we did have a relationship with USC Lancaster. However, we no longer have a relationship with them as it relates to offering dual credit. Mills Tech has been a tremendous partner, and quite honestly, Mills Tech has been willing to do it very conveniently and very cheaply to the tune of free, and so you can't beat free. Yeah.
But for our students, as Mr. Miller so eloquently stated within the five schools, is it possible to have conversations if we do for the institutions, even if they only offer one course?
I will explore that.
I mean, there would be a problem having both in the high school.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I have to look at that and see.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll be able to look at it.
in 2015, our students took Algebra 1, Biology 1, English 1, and U.S. History in the course exams. We had 90% of algebra students that passed the end of course exam, and this number exceeded the state average of 85.5%. For biology and English 1, we did not see a change, and that was a 4% decline in U.S. history scores. The percent of students scoring met or exemplary on the science and social studies pass assessment is listed in the chart below. Now, you'll only see grades 4 through 8. Third grade was not required to take science and social studies. Also keep in mind, in 2014, the state did a sampling. Some students took social studies and some took science, but they didn't do all. In 2015, all 4th through 8th grade students took science and social studies. Now, some highlights for social studies: 81% of 4th graders scored met or exemplary, 72% of 6th graders scored met or exemplary. For the Aspire assessment, students in grades 3 through 8 were assessed in ELA, math, reading, and writing. Now, across the top of the chart, you'll see 3 levels: ready, close, and in need of support. The readiness levels are predictive of ACT benchmarks. So the Aspire test looks at probability and measures growth towards college and career readiness. So if a student meets the ready benchmark, that student is on target to meet college readiness. Now down below, you'll see a brief description of the levels. Ready represents the percent of students that have a 50% likelihood of scoring at least a B on a college level course by 11th grade. Close represents the percent of students that scored above the low cut, but below the benchmark. And generally for Fairfield County, the students that fell in this range were only 1 to 8 points away from achieving the ready level. In need of support represents students that scored below the cut score. So the percentages that you see here are district percentages. So that encompasses all grade levels, 3 through 8.
Ms. Coker, sorry, if I can interrupt there. You said that tell me about the 1 to 8, the scores were within 1 to 8 points of the national average?
Of the ready cut score, the benchmark.
Okay, and my understanding is that in this ACT Aspire, this first year, that standard deviations are very high compared to typical assessments that we see as being reliable and valid assessments. So the ones I looked at were between 6 and 9 points of standard deviation. So very easily those students could fall certainly into that ready category based on my knowledge of standard deviation, how that works within assessments. Is that what your knowledge is?
Absolutely.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to say or ask or answer the question to is the writing assessment. The benchmark was placed at 95% by ACT Aspire, and this is the first time, really, with all of these tests, that every time our students, while they had practice during the year, have not taken timed assessments in 3 grades, 3 through 8. These were passed, what we've always had in the past, the South Carolina past, is an untimed test. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Yes. And so this was the first time that these assessments were actually timed. So students, in my experience, were feeling a lot more anxiety than usual.
Absolutely, especially in the area of writing. And as you were saying, they had to score in that 95th percentile just to be considered ready. And the state average was only 24%.
Correct. Thank you.
I'm sure these are the exact same numbers that are on the state website. They be extracted.
Yes, and these numbers have been, if it's like 14.9, you may see a 15%. So they've been rounded.
Okay. Now these are, they're not offering us, they're not, this is not going to be able to be administered in what next year.
We still don't know that answer. The State Department said the earliest that they would announce it would be the end of this month. The only thing we know about is in the course, that is a given. Work keys will be administered again, and the access test for ESOL students. Other than that, we're still waiting.
Okay. And they're currently in the process of another test. What the RFP put out.
The bids have been turned in, and they're supposed to again make the decision towards the end of this month as to who gets the contract.
Excuse me. Question on, again, I asked you before, when they were apparently reviewing it for the children with disabilities, as far as accepting for college, the ACT, what types of accommodations are they accepting now?
And if I can answer that, there is a whole guidance that ACT puts out in the Department in terms of what accommodations they consider not to invalidate the score. And so in other words, even as I said last time, even if we have an accommodation really into a student's IEP, if it does not meet the guidance of ACT, then they will invalidate that score.
So that's what I'm asking, which ones can you have that you wouldn't want?
I mean, and I sent that out to you. I mean, that's a pretty extensive document. I couldn't tell you all the accommodations that are approved.
I think we mentioned before, I don't know if you know, like untimed, for example. I think you mentioned that probably having it read to you was eliminated.
That would be.
So untimed, do they accept that?
Well, students could receive what's called extended time, whereas they will get a percentage of your standard time. If it was 30 minutes, and they could receive 100% more, 200%, or 300%. And all that is based on what was in their IEPs.
Okay, so right off the top of your head, you don't know any other accommodations that they'll accept to their time?
Small group, some cases they can read the directions, but you can't read the test questions and items. Highlighting the text if they needed, similar to past. The big difference is no oral accommodation. That was the largest difference in your Aspire in the past is Aspire didn't allow oral accommodations.
Thank you.
This chart will show you the ACT Aspire score averages. Now, you will see district as well as national scores. The district scores in all areas were very close to what the national mean scores were.
And to reiterate, that within that standard deviation.
Correct. Now, work keys, this is a job skill and career readiness assessment. Now, this was the first year that all 11th grade students were required to take the work keys test. Now, there are 4 certificate levels: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. Our students, 72 students achieved the bronze level, 59 the silver level, 8 the gold. Now, statewide, there was only a 0.08% of students that achieved platinum level.
That was all the 11th grade certificates?
Yeah.
So you say this is the first year that they had to take this?
Correct. 11th grade students.
So not in the past, we haven't had all the students take it?
No, ma'am. 11th grade students were also required to take ACT this year. So the mean scores that you see listed on this next screenshot include only 11th grade students. So in 2015, again, that was the first year that the state required 11th grade students to take the ACT. For English, our mean scale score was a 13, math 15.6, reading 14.9, and science 15.7, and our composite was a 14.9.
And just for information, that is actually, while they're 11th grade students, some of those are third-year high school students.
Correct. That is correct.
They're not all necessarily classified as 11th grade.
Correct, third year high school.
Right, thank you.
So what happened to the other students between the number that took the work keys and the number that took ACT?
When I would work keys, there'll be 43 students that you won't see in these numbers. 43 students did not receive a certificate of any type.
They didn't receive a what?
They did not receive a certificate for work keys. So when you're looking at the number 72 for bronze, 59 for silver, and 8 for gold, you're not seeing 43 students amongst those numbers because they did not receive a certificate.
That means they scored that low.
Yes, ma'am.
And what's that percentage? 42 students out of
Let's see, the percentage that did not receive a certificate was 23.6.
Did you say that was 43 students?
Yes.
Ms. Cole, if I could just say something, a couple of things about particularly administering the ACT assessment as a part of our state accountability system. I have some disagreements with that fundamentally. The only purpose of an ACT or an SAT is to gain admission into a 4-year institution. We are entertaining a policy we're saying that it is in the best interest of our students to administer an ACT or SAT to every single student in 11th grade or every third year student. And I can tell you that I think it is almost malpractice for us to have a self-contained student sit down for 4 or 5 or 6 hours taking an ACT assessment when he or she has no aspirations nor the capacity to attend a 4-year institution. And so I think we need to look at that in that context, is that this looks at every single kid in 11th grade, be it a self-contained kid, a resource kid, a regulated kid, I mean every single kid taking these assessments. And that is much different than historically what we have done. And so I think we need to look at that through that lens. Thank you.
Madam Chair, my concern is more the students who didn't score higher than get any certificate. And the only people who stay stagnant are the people who don't admit what they do so that they can advance. So my question would just be, what is it that we're doing to work with the students who did not score high enough so that they could at least get into that gold bracket? Or are we saying we have 23% of our students who fall within a special needs category where they don't have the ability to score the gold level?
And so what I would say to that, Ms. McDaniel, is this is the first year that we have administered the work keys assessment to all students in 11th grade. And so that no doubt will cause us to make some adjustments in terms of what we do to prepare students for the assessment. Now, with that said, I'll be honest with you, I have some reservations for where I think this may go. And so let me kind of tell you, and I've talked to some people at the State Department about this. You know, I don't want us to get to the point where, you know, we are getting in total test preparation mode just for the benefit of looking well on assessments. I want us to do what's in the best interest of each individual student. And you know, for example, when we talk, and I know you want to talk about ACT, for example, Ms. Harvey, and Ms. McDaniel, you're talking about work.
I'm talking tonight.
But I think it is really, you know, misguided. If we get to the point where I have a kid who's in welding, for example, who wants to aspire to be a welder, and I said, I'm going to take you out of welding and I'm going to put you in an ACT prep course just so you can do well on the ACT when you have no desire to go to a 4-year institution. That is something that's not in a student's best interest. And so as we think about how we respond to what the State Department ultimately may do, I think we're going to have to balance doing things that we think are going to improve the student's test score and also doing things that are in the best interest of our students. And I don't know what that balance is, Ms. McDaniel. Like I said, this is brand new in terms of requiring all students to take these assessments. I don't know what it'll be in years to come. You know, it is a little anxious when we're going through the year, we're almost at the midpoint, and we still don't even know what the assessment is. And so in terms of preparing kids. So, but for to make a long story short, we are evaluating all the results, okay, and to determine how we want to make adjustments to our instructional program.
And I agree with you on everything except I would just encourage you and the staff to just get that 23% that did not score at all as a level to give them some special consideration, special treatment, special help. That's all.
That's your point.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to make a comment as far as the ACT, as you were saying, as far as giving it to everybody. If they change that, I'd like to make a suggestion that you're saying a lot of times you would have in the past have gone by the guidance counselors and what they think the student does. My suggestion is to have the parent be involved and actually sign a paper saying that they don't, you know, they agree with you that that child will not go to a 4-year college. Because to me that can change, and I think we should always encourage them to go on if they want, you know, because down the road you don't know what they're going to want to do. Anyway, that's,
Yeah, and so, I would agree with you that parents need to be involved in that guidance process. Unfortunately, sometimes parents aren't, but we would always hope that parents are involved. And so we hope not to make that decision in isolation. You know, as my girls are now in high school and they start, talking to their guidance counselors about what their career aspirations are, I do expect that I would be involved in that conversation as well. And so we wholeheartedly hope that parents are involved in that guidance process with students.
there's a lot of students don't know where they want to go, even when they finish high school. That they're in limbo because, anyway, they all don't just know where they want to go.
The next slide, graduation rate, I think Dr. Green wanted to address.
Yes, and so graduation rate, you probably see that 2015 is blacked out. Even though I had already sent that information out to the board members, Ms. McDaniel, you would be glad to know that the State Department sent some information out on yesterday saying that they were not going to release the embargo on that aspect of that. And so, even though I've already sent it out, the reason I'm not publicly stating it is because the State Department said that is still embargoed as of yesterday. It was supposed to be released on yesterday, but for some reason it was not. But I will say for the audience that our graduation rate in 2015, even though I can't publicly say what it is probably as high as it's ever been in Fairfield County. And we are extremely excited about where it is. Without violating any of the embargo parameters. No, I don't want you to get in trouble, Mr. McDaniel, but I can't, I guess I'm not supposed to say what it was in 2015, but I'll tell you that the state average is around 80% for the year, and we are considerably higher than the state average.
So you never was higher than that? I know that somewhere around.
All right, moving on quickly. All right, we'd like to just look at a few celebrations from our assessment 2014-15 school year. 73 students scored an exemplary on past science and social studies. We had one student that achieved a perfect score on the past science assessment. We had two students, who achieved a maximum score on the ACT Aspire assessment, which is basically the same as a perfect pass score. Two students scored exceeding on all portions of the ACT Aspire assessment. We had 50 students who scored the top 10% in the state on the ACT Aspire reading assessment. 40 students that scored in the top 10% of the state on the Aspire math assessment. 8 students achieved a gold work key certificate. 90% of Algebra 1 students passed the end of course exam. Our graduation rate exceeded state average, and 3 students achieved a score 3 or higher on the AP calculus exam. Yes, 5 students scored 3 or higher on biology. We also had 1 on the language and composition.
Can I check in one final question before you sit down? Are we not testing the students that we school want to have to run out of? Yes, they're included in those percentages. They are, is that as a district percentage?
I don't know if you know the answer to this, or Dr. Green might, but for the graduation rate, they actually have to be a student at the end of the year to graduate, or is there a certain date that they have to be a student to
They
include
start
them?
pulling data from Power School in late March, early April to determine graduation rate. And in July, we get files that we have to go through and verify that say this kid, should be on the graduation rate list and included in the percentages, or no, this kid moved. You have to go through and verify every child. We do that during the summer.
So in other words, this coming year, it would be March or April of next year that would be included.
Correct, they'll pull the data at that point, but then we'll go back in the summer and verify that that data is correct or incorrect. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coker. We'll take a 5-minute break before we come back with our finance and operations. Thank you.
You said the president, right? See, I said the president.
No, we don't get that one.
All right, thank you for indulging us with a much-needed break. We'll go on to,
That's the first time we ever had one.
well, it was much-needed.
3 years. We're counting me, I've been doing this.
We'll move on to finance and operations.
Madam Chair, piece of the board, we have, I know on the schedule, we have the finance report first. Since we have the auditors here, we have to travel, we'd like to switch items 1 and 2. In finance and operations, we have to do the audit report. So we have this management document with our auditors, McAfee, Schwartz, and Halliday.
How are you doing this evening?
Fine.
If it's the point where you can't hear me, the mic's got a little battery, so it may die on me. The first thing we're going to start off with, you should have a 2-page letter. Right here. On our letter. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Is that your law? Is that your law?
That's my boss right there. That's Eddie Mackey in the back. I'm the guy who everybody at Trustees I'm in charge of counting on it. That's the part we're in charge of it. So he reviews it. So the first letter that you see here, this is our communication letter. This is our required communication to use the board about the entirety of the audit and its completion. The first thing that you'll see is a little inset paragraph about a third of the way down. Talks about Note 11, which is the district's adoption of GASB 68 and 71. Those are 2 new GASB pronouncements this year dealing with the reporting of pension plans and contribution to pensions. And I'm actually going to skip over that right now, and once we get the financial statements, I'm going to go into more detail with that and explain kind of what that means for the district. If you keep coming down, we talk about that there were no transactions entered into by the governmental unit of the district during the year for which there's a lack of authoritative guidance or consensus, and all significant transactions have been recognized in the financial statements in the proper period. It basically means we look through all your financial statements, we look through your accounting entries. They're all booked in the correct period, and they all have proper supporting documentation. Keep coming down, about 2/3 way down the page. It discusses your sensitive estimates, depreciation, and allowance for taxes receivable are your 2 sensitive estimates. We've reviewed both of those estimates, and they're reasonable. And on the second page, it talks about disagreements with management. We had no disagreements with management, as well as it discusses management consultants from other independent accountants. If management had discussed any of the financial statements or the audit with other accountants, both the other accountants and managers are supposed to let us know. To our knowledge, that did not take place. Now we're going to go to page 1 of the big thick book.
Did you mention? Management.
That's what this is, communication letter. There's not a maintenance letter.
So you are going to swear, things that you guys find, things that need to be corrected.
All the corrections have been made, so there's nothing to report on the maintenance letter.
So there were no conditions that y'all found that needed.
We found all the conditions, we found corrections, discussed with management, the management agreed to make those corrections. So there's no uncorrected, there's no unadjusted corrections that we found. And that's discussed in the communication letter.
Okay, so I thought when you find the correction, the conditions, you don't make a correction, they still supposed to be part of the letter to us and doing the correction. Yes, I do.
I've never,
There's no separate management company.
Right.
Single audit section. We got it right.
we discussed the community adjustments in here, but as far as reporting them to the board, all the corrections have been made, there's no uncorrected adjustments. You turn to pages 1 and 2, please. Pages 1 and 2 of the big book here. This is your financial statements. This is our independent auditor's report. If you come about a third of the way down, this is management's responsibility. And management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And they're also charged with maintaining appropriate internal controls over financial reporting. The next section is our responsibility as auditors, and our responsibility is to express an opinion based on reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free of the material misstatement, as well as to conduct our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. The next to last paragraph is our opinion paragraph. It says, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. The respective financial positions and governmental activity, each major fund, and aggregate remaining fund information of the Fairfield County School District. This is an unmodified opinion, which is the highest that can be given. Now, if you will turn to pages 12 and 13. Pages 12 and 13 are your government-wide reporting. And the purpose of these 2 pages is to show capital assets and your long-term obligations, as well as include the depreciation on those capital assets. You'll see that you had total assets of $58.3 million. That's made up of $32.4 million in capital assets and $23.2 million due from various other governmental units, your county treasurer, the State Department, and the federal government. If you keep coming down, you'll see total liabilities of $62.9 million. That's made up of $1.8 million in accrued payroll and benefits, $1.2 million in unearned revenue, and $13.4 million in long-term debt outstanding, which includes your $11.5 million GO bond issue in 2014 and 2015. Now, like I said a minute ago, I'm going to talk about GASB 68 and 71 now. What GASB 68 and 71 did, very simplistically, was add 3 numbers to Schedule A, to Exhibit A, 4 schedules, and about 8 pages of footnotes explaining the whole plan. The first number that you'll see is your deferred outflows of resources of $3.8 million. That $3.8 million is your total outflows. $1.2 million of that is related to experience, how many people are in the plan, mortality, payroll, etc. And $2.56 million is your 2014-2015 pension plan contributions.
Okay.
This is on page 12. It's the deferred outflows of resources of $3.8 million, like right in the middle of the page.
Where's the number of people?
This is a statewide plan. I'm going to explain all that.
Oh,
Okay. The next number we're going to look at is your deferred inflows of resources of $3.8 that is all related to the investments of the pension plan as a whole. And then the next number that you're going to look at, if you look at your liabilities, right above your non-current liabilities, you're going to see a number that's called net pension liability of $43.7 million. That is the district's share of South Carolina's actuarially estimated $17.1 billion pension underfunding. And the adjustment each year for all of the changes in these three numbers will run through your statement of activities on your government-wide. This is government-wide only. This does not affect your fund financial statements.
What's the point of being on group level? This is, just to look like a big law or negativity. I mean, pay into the state retirement system, they're responsible for paying attention. So what's the point? I mean, this is not something that we're going to fund separately.
The governmental accounting standard, GASB, came out in 68 and 71 and said that you are required to put your share of the underfunding on your books. Right. So somebody told us that we need to make sure, and y'all need to make sure that it goes on your financial statements.
But that's crazy. Because if you want to show the liability, then where all the income that belongs to the state retirement system that's goes out for you. So that should show as negative.
You get a state portion of fringe revenue showing in your general fund.
No, I ain't coming. I'm like a whole big investment pot they have.
Okay. The deferred, it all calculates into that $43.7 billion.
Why is that all shown as liability?
Because it's your percentage of the $17.1 billion that's sitting with people. I'm trying to the best way to explain.
That's all right. We can talk about that offline. If nobody talk here for me, so we know it.
No, it's one of these things, once you start really looking at it, if you get this far into it, you have to get this far into it to really, it's all actuarial driven. At a 7% discount rate, based on actuarial expectations versus realities, that's where your deferred inflows and your deferred outflows come in. You know, if the stock market had done better 2 days before the end of the year, your deferred inflows could have been completely different. This is a on your books paper entry. Okay? Everybody, not only in South Carolina, but in the entire country, who has a pension plan that's run like this as a government has to report to us. So everybody's in the same boat.
I understand how that, I don't have a problem with any of that. My problem is with, if you want to put that huge amount, because when I first looked at the audit and saw the upside down net financial position being $30-something thousand, $30-something million, but then you bagged out some stuff and got us down to 4.4 million. I'm just saying, if you will actuarialize the liability, you ought to be doing the same thing with it. That's all right.
We can talk about it.
Okay.
So let's flip to page 13. This is your statement of activities for the governmental entity as a whole. You saw a $6.8 million increase in that position, $52 million in revenue, $16 million was grant revenue, $30 million in tax revenue, and $5 million in state grants, with $45 million in expenditures. Now, if we can flip to pages 14 and 16.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
This is saying that the capital projects is currently at $8,630,285.
Yes, ma'am.
And that was where, you know where it is, but this is where we put $2.25 million, I think. last meeting?
Yeah, so as of June 30th, that's what
And we were told by Mr. Robinson it was approximately 1 million only in there?
As I said, Ms. Harvey, that was as of June 30th.
Now, this is a big difference in what I'm asking, what I was asking, when we put that money in there.
Okay, and as I said, that's as of June 30th, when we still had expenses with the new career
So,
center.
okay,
That's not, you asked Kevin that question as of last month.
okay, that's $1.3 million of the whole career center. What else is supposed to come out of that?
No, money from the new career center.
Okay, so how much? You know?
No, I can tell you that. I mean, with the exception of where we are right now,
Would you let us know when you find out?
let you know what?
We'll know when the map comes out of it.
I'm not following your question.
When the amount that we have to pay for the new career center should be being complete pretty soon, right?
Yes, and so that process is not complete.
Thank you.
So that 2.25 million that we voted on in October, we have included in the savings.
Correct. And I'm gonna get all that. I'm gonna work my way through it.
Okay, well, don't forget because that is a whole lot of information. We voted on that in October, and he still heard it down since June 30th. So now we have minutes all the way up until the October meeting, even though more than those minutes, and you make the adjustment on books.
Correct. I will get through it.
I always thought they stopped on June 30th. We need to go back beyond that.
Okay, we look at page 16. The first column you're looking at is your general fund. General fund balance increased roughly 2.5 million to 9.3 million. That's 27.4% of your 2015 actual expenditures, 26.3% of your 2015 budgeted expenditures, and 24.7% of your 2015-2016 budgeted expenses of 37.4 billion, which was approved. And the district maintained its funding policy of 12% fund balance. And there's a couple of reasons why you really want to have that solid, strong fund balance like y'all have, which is very good. Cash flow through the end of the calendar year, when you receive your tax revenue, this will cover that. It also lessens the immediate impact of your state cuts. It also has your potential for a better bond rating that would have helped you with your bonding when you do your new $11.5 million bond. And it's also saving for unanticipated events. If you had something come up, you have that buffer there in order to be able to use. If you look at your revenues for the general fund, you had a $2.9 million increase from the prior year. The total revenues to $37.6 million. Local revenues increased $2.3 million. State sources increased $600,000. And you're at $2.7 million over budget in total. Your general fund expenditures total $33.7 million. That's a $300,000 increase from the prior year. Your instructional expenses of $17.6 million is up $100,000 from the prior year, and is $600,000 less than the budget. Your support services of $15.6 million is up $200,000 from the prior year. Is $880,000 less than the budget, which gave you total expenditures $1.5 million under budget. One of the highlights, you had a transfer in of $746,415. That's predominantly EIA salaries and fringe, which you're allowed to transfer. And like you were discussing a minute ago, we had a $2.25 million transfer to capital projects, which is an increase of $1 million from the prior year. One thing to note, you had budgeted a $300,000 transfer to food service to cover the shortfall there, which was not needed this year for the first time in a while.
Was that transfer, that $300,000?
It was included in the increase in your total net, or your total fund balance in the current year.
But as it relates to the general fund, was it transferred to any of these other funds, the capital projects?
It's all big one pot of money. You can't.
Okay, if you look on page 16, stands out.
Right.
Somewhere, one of these schedules, and $300,000 stood out as well. I'm not sure where you had it absorbed on this schedule.
It's not well, it was a budgeted line item that was not
Correct. But what my question to you is, since we did not need the 300,000, was the 300,000 utilized in capital projects or used to pay out debt service or any other special revenue reason? It's part of the it's part of the $9.12 million.
It's right. It's sitting in the, it would, and Kevin would know more directly, but it is sitting in the 9.3 million in your general fund. Because it was a budgeted item that was not needed.
I understand that. I just want to make sure that it's part of the $9 million in general fund and not part of the 8.7 million in capital projects.
That's what it is.
Thank you.
Excuse me, it looks like there's 4 things that were transferred across the line there at the bottom.
Correct.
And so it looked like it calculated that debt service, $4,050,000. If you added that to the fund balance that we transferred, $2,250,000. If you add that together, you come up with 63 million. No, I'm sorry, 6,300,000.
Yes, ma'am.
So that was together. So what happened?
And I'm going to get to that when I talk
Where did
about
the other 2 go to?
the 718 and
Right.
28, that's the 746, 415 coming into the general fund, which you're allowed to move from those funds there to cover EIA salaries and fringe.
So that went to the general fund, and that was from the EIA fund.
Correct. And that's what I'm about to talk about.
Okay, what about the special funds, the 28,000?
That was for them as well for indirect costs.
That went into where?
General fund.
Thank you.
So if you look at your next 2 columns, you have special revenue funds, special projects, and special revenue funds, EIA. Your special revenue funds, special projects, your federal and state grants, and programs, it's mostly Title I and your IDEA, special services. You have approximately 35 grants totaling $4.4 million in expenditures. For your EIA funds, these are funds from the State Department of Education created by the EIA Act of 1984. You have approximately 25 programs totaling roughly $1.8 million in expenditures. And the district's constrained on exactly how, where, and when they can spend these federal and state grants by the requirements of the State Department, and they can only use them as the allowable grant allowance. And you don't show a fund balance. Any unspent funds must be returned to the state or carried over to the next year if there is a carryover provision.
So we didn't have any flexible spending for 15.
You did. That's the 718,409.
So that's the total amount of EIA that was not used, so everything else that was transferred over to the general fund.
Correct. If you look at the next 3 columns, you have your special revenue fund, food service, debt service fund, and capital projects fund. Your food service fund this year operated at $122,000 surplus. And I did a little analysis because I know this was the first year the district was on the community eligibility program. Your local revenue, CEP, everybody is 100% free. No food service. Lunch and breakfast, no food service applications. Standard, flat. If you get a meal, you get reimbursed for this. We don't worry about it. If you're free, you're reduced.
Is that for all districts in South Carolina?
It is on a district by district, school by school basis.
You have to fill out an application to apply for it, or
You qualify based on your direct service food stamps and TANF. So the district has to be, I think it's over 60% direct food service and TANF. And if you're in that position and maintain that percentage, you're allowed to be CEP.
So that amount we received is correct.
Yes.
Thank you.
Your local revenue decreased this year to $62,000 from $138,000 to $72,000, but your federal revenue, where you would see your reimbursements for those meals, increased $400,000 from $2.06 million to $2.46 million, while the the management of the district did a very good fiscal job this year, actually reducing expenditures by $7,200. So what that looked like is in 2013, 2014, you had a transfer into food services of $203,768 to cover the shortfall. By going CDP and maintaining fiscal responsibility, you were able to not only remove the need for that transfer, but see $122,000 surplus in the food service.
So where's the indirect cost for food service back to the general fund? I see.
Food service was not charged direct costs this year.
Is there a reason that it happened? Because in the past it wasn't done because it was operating at a deficit.
The purpose of building the surplus in your food service, one of the reasons you want to do that is so that you can build up that in order to replace equipment. So
We're not
you would have to ask.
But we're not treating it as an enterprise. We treat it as a,
Correct.
just regular special service. So just like the indirect costs for, whatever these other programs what we have listed here. Once we make a profit on food service, we should take more food service.
That's not a decision we make, that's a decision of the district.
Dr. Lee, can you answer that?
No, ma'am, I'm getting this one.
Thank you. Indirect costs from food service back to, general fund.
Yes, ma'am, what's your question?
Why did we do indirect costs from the food service back to the general fund?
Well, we weren't sure, I guess, at the time, how close we would be, just based on adjustments, whether we would end up being in the hole or not. And so we didn't make one at the time, but that's something we'll look at closely next year. And just given the surplus also in the general fund, there really was not a major impact that we would have in the general fund by transferring any direct costs. Just given the nature of food service historically, where they've had a problem kind of building a fund balance, that was the other reason we decided not to make one last one.
Where they had a problem with building fund balance, plus they owed the general fund $1 million for a couple of prior years ago. So I'm just trying to get clarification, because when we discussed this, and Mr. Miller, can you so I can see you?
I'm sorry.
When we discussed this in October, it was presented to us as though the excess in food service that comes from a savings, but technically it is, because we only saved $7,200. The real reason why this money is because of this community universal program, which after I guess we sent the numbers to the federal government, we came up with an additional $400,000 based on whatever the formula is for reimbursements. So what we were told last month as to how the savings came about technically wasn't accurate.
No, and what we told you last month was that the reason, a part of the reason we had a surplus in the general fund is because we had $300,000 budgeted for a planned transfer to food service if they were if they were in the hole as they have historically been. And so what I was saying is that a part of that surplus in the general fund is because the food service program actually, they broke even or they made money, and as a result, we didn't have to transfer $300,000 to food service.
Okay, as I recollect, it was because there was a savings in food service because they cut expenditures in food service, when actuality it's because of the reimbursement that we received from the federal government.
Well, I guess my intent, and what I was saying is that the program itself made money and they didn't go into the hole. So a combination of the revenue plus them lowering their expenditures, given the fact that they had salary increases and benefit increases, meant that the program itself did much better than it historically had.
Correct, because we changed the way we were being funded. Because before we went to this community universal program, based on last year's order, we only bought in $59,000. But then when I guess all those people, those students who paid for lunch and breakfast was put on this universal program, and those numbers were submitted to the federal government, and that gave us the additional $400,000.
Correct.
Okay, so at that point, we should have known, because if the auditors were able to pull the $2.25 million transfer and have it incorporated in this budget, which was not the case as of June 30th, which is what marks the fiscal year, then you also should have had known that we was going to have that surplus because of the federal money. Because what y'all told us in October, actually, these auditors had already done, because the exact same numbers of what's showing up in audit. They were like, was trying to figure it out. Which means that when it was presented to us, we should have been told that you had already consulted with the auditor, and you knew that's what these numbers were. But it was presented to us as though, it looks like we're going to have these surpluses and this additional money, but it didn't look like y'all knew, because y'all had talked to the auditor.
Yeah, and if I may interject, Ms. McDaniel, I don't recall us ever indicated that we weren't sure whether food service was going to operate at surplus.
He just said.
No. He was saying.
He just said. He said when y'all brought us those numbers, that y'all was not sure.
No, Ms. McDaniel, what I was saying was prior to last month, as we were closing out the books back August, September, but last month when we brought this to the board, then we knew what the numbers were going to be. That's why we brought it to the board.
What you told us last month was that there was a savings because the food service manager building cut expenditures, which they did cut by $7,200, not by $300,000. The reason for the $300,000, which was really $400,000, is because of the change in how we get reimbursed from the federal government. And the only thing I'm just saying is that's what should have been told to us, because you knew that at that time.
And so, Ms. McDaniel, what I would say is that food services, for the first time in several years, did not operate at a deficit, and that is the result of two things: the reducing expenditures and increasing revenue. And as he said, this community eligibility does enable more of our students to eat free, and therefore results in a greater reimbursement from the federal government. And so you are right, that results in greater revenue. But it's
information to us. Go ahead and just give us the full picture, present it accurately. It was not presented that way when it was presented in October. When you guys asked to transfer the $2.2 million to capital programs, and you went down the list of different reasons why you came up with the money, all you had to do is tell us that you had already conferred with the auditor. Because you had.
I'm a little confused, but nonetheless, okay, I'll just get that.
The next column over you see is debt service. Your debt service has a $1.4 million fund balance, total expenditures $285,000, and you referred $4.05 million to the capital projects.
Okay, I have a question on that.
Okay.
So where did the $4 million come from?
Short-term lending. Issue of short-term debt, which doesn't show on your financial statements.
So this is not a result of any tax relation, it's just.
No.
Okay, so
You're not allowed to transfer the tax revenue.
Oh, I know, that's why I was asking the question.
Right, but what you do is you issue your short-term debt.
Oh, I understand how it
Then
works.
you pay it off with the tax.
I understand how it works, that's why I wouldn't transfer.
That's what it is.
Right.
You have short-term debt. Next column over is your capital projects of $8.6 million. You had construction costs in the current year of $13.9 million, along with bond proceeds of $11.5 million. You saw the $4.05 million transfer from debt service and the $2.25 million transfer from the general fund. As of June 30th, 2015, there were $1.5 million in outstanding commitments on several construction contracts. And that $1.5 million the $1.5 million was the remaining left on a $16.5 million contract, as well as what has been paid towards the start of the next projects, to which there's no set contractual value. So, like y'all were asking about earlier, and I told you I'll talk about, on June 30th, you only had $1.5 million in outstanding commitments. That is only a single day of the year.
Okay, you say outstanding commitments, you mean money that we hold for payrolls, maybe, I'm going to finish that question.
those contracts, whether the work had been done yet or not.
But we still want to go and
It's money that you would pay in the future to complete those contracts.
as a
Now,
result of this.
as a result of not only finishing the Career and Technology Center, but also starting to work on the old Career and Technology Center.
Okay, because I thought Ms. Hartman asked you a question about the new career center. You said that was a big.
I didn't say anything.
So of the 1.5 billion, you know how much of it was for the new career center versus how much for the renovation of the old career center?
Not offhand. I have those numbers, we've calculated it, but I don't have them with me.
That's what I thought was going to be, right?
If you flip to pages 81, 82, and 83, these are our two required letters for the single audit and for compliance testing. The first one is the letter discussing compliance with governmental auditing standards. There were no instances of non-compliance noted. There were no internal control deficiencies noted. The second letter is in compliance with OMB Circular 8133 for the single audit. You complied with all the compliance requirements of your major program. There were no internal control deficiencies. Any other questions?
On the page that you have the favorables and the page 46.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a schedule that you have in here where you listed all of the EIA monies that was received and what was spent.
That's
And
going to be scheduled 352,
what page is it?
which is on page 72.
Okay, now let me understand this last unearned revenue item that gives
What?
me.
What that column is, under revenue, that's money that you've received from the state that do not have a matching current year expenditure for. And the way EIA funding works is you get that money in full. This is money you would have received in 2014, 2015. Because you did not have a matching expenditure for those revenues, you're allowed to carry them to 2015 and 2016 school year in order to expend them. So that money, that column represents the amount of money which the district has from 14, 15 revenues to use in 15, 16.
And if we don't use it in 15, 16, we have to send it back.
Correct.
And is that the same thing for page 67?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you correctly, on page 72, we received $486,000. We spent $498,000 plus minus. And we still have $376 that we need to spend in 2016 over on music, plus whatever we get in 2016.
But you have 376,311 that you need to spend in 15 to 16.
Plus whatever we get from 15, 16.
But whatever you get in 15, 16, whatever you do not spend, you're allowed to carry forward for 1 year.
I guess I'm concerned because the title, and that's not a question, that's a administration question. The title of the money the students that risk the school fail. And we didn't find the need to spend all that money the same year that we received it out of it.
Granted, not Ms. McDaniel, and, you know, of course, we use those at-risk funds for a multitude of things. I would say, without knowing any specifics, that they evaluated all the needs that they had. They put things in place to accommodate those needs, and just had excess revenue. Now, I guess we can always make the argument that you should spend it for as well, but it is not something that you consider to be a prudent use of resources. Then I would agree that you wait until when you feel you have a better use of those resources, and not just fill in the gap.
Now, why the theoretical answer is great. Can I agree with you to look at the first year that we received this category of money and see what we spent on it for the first year? And that will tell how we set the tone for spending it after year end versus spending it in the year that we received.
I'll take a look at it.
Think what?
I'll take a look at it.
I appreciate it. So I can call it for the service.
You call it.
I didn't take this. Okay. But you do see all of these different categories. I mean, I understand to some people it's good that you don't spend the money in the year you get it, but when you don't, then the students who caused you to get the money in that particular year, you're not spending that money on those children. And even if we are A+, we miss the A++ because we're not spending money. And it's hard for me to believe that we wouldn't have had meetings for it. There was something in here relative to adult ed, and I can't find it. It's wasted the amount of money that we spend on adult ed.
Look at pages 56 and following.
Excuse me, on page 12, you make reference to liabilities. You've got up, it says other liabilities and long-term liabilities. It's showing for other liabilities as $5,714,357. It's about the center of the page. Of 12, of page 7, I'm sorry.
Page 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then also below it, it says long-term liabilities of $57 billion.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we have an idea what that is, for both of them?
Let's see if I can do this real light to the end. Your 5.7, look at page 12. So what you're looking at page 7 is the management discussion and analysis. That's the district's, that's management's overall recap of this 80
Okay, for everything,
plus pages.
not like a building or.
So that's-
Some other data.
Page 7, what you're looking at, is just a summary of page 12 in a far more concise.
Okay, I was trying to look, and I can't seem to find it. I had it on page 12, and it says due in 1 year, $2,963,286.
Yep. How we get the page?
And that, I had it down as page 12. but-
It's on page 12, correct, that's where it's recorded.
Okay, then I
Look at
have,
page, that's on page 29 if you want to see it. Pay.
then I have one that is beyond that, that says $10,506,615.
Correct. Look,
So what are those buildings that are like the career centers?
no, that's debt.
That's still debt for what?
Turn to page 29.
29.
Pages 29 and page 30. So if you look at the bottom of page 29, under note 5, long-term obligations, that little table right there will show you that you have $2.82 billion and general obligation debt, general obligation bonds that are due within 1 year. Your capital leases are not due within 1 year. You have 40,764 in capital compensated absences and 102,522 in your unamortized bond premiums. And if you flip to page 30, this will give you an idea, these two schedules will give you an idea of what your total overall long-term obligations are over the next 5 years individually and 5-year increments thereafter. Principal and interest.
Now, is that career center, is that?
That is your debt. This has nothing to do with particular projects. You issued an $11.5 million bond last year. The $11.5 million in your general obligation bonds you see on page 30, that's your repayment schedule on those bonds.
Wasn't that issue for the career center?
The bonds were issued for a
He
multitude.
said it's for the career center.
But the $11.5 million doesn't tie in dollar value directly to the career center.
But it was supposed to.
Not necessarily.
Why not?
Because the $11.5 million is the amount of the bond issued. Now, you actually, in contractual commitments and obligations, you had $16 million.
Did you find anywhere in the board minutes where you were told specifically what it was going to be? And you keep looking at that, I'm asking you.
It was for construction and renovations.
For the career center.
Okay. And those things, you would have to go back and read your bond amendments that the board approved on the $11.5 million.
You can review
So this isn't something that you do as part of the audit, you want to verify.
No, because that is the district's and management's responsibility to make sure the bond proceeds are used for the appropriate purpose.
You just get the vote on the
Those don't issue the bond, that was exempt by the attorneys who came in.
But that was not the covenant. It did not have this specific items listed.
Okay, so basically you're saying it will be paid off in 2025.
Correct. In March of 2025, you'll make your last principal payment on your $11.5 million bond.
Where's your showing bar? I don't see that on here.
If you look at the first table on page 30, $11.5 million 2015 general obligation bonds, principal due in annual installments of
Okay,
$820,000.
I see it now. Thank you.
I've got what I was doing, what I'm concerned with.
My question is, you have not been told,
I can't say it well, and
which would check when I vote.
I can't, I'll be honest with you, I do 10 things a year.
Yeah, but I'm just like, now, on page 66, the revenues that you have listed, where the signatures that were they like generalized together or?
The revenues on page 66, if you look at page 65, 57 to 65.
57,
57 to 65. In the last two columns on that schedule,
you have all itemized out, just like we outlined.
they're not itemized by fund, they're itemized by function, operators required by state department.
My question was, do you have this, the way you have this, so that's that.
I have them in my trial balances as well. But as you can see, there's no fund balance. Anything that was not spent would have been deferred. So the revenue that you see for each line item, there's an appropriate and equal expenditure.
But some of them are more revenue schedules on page 57.
They're all in this schedule.
My question, because you said that they're not functional,
Correct.
is that some of the amounts that's applicable to the revenue on 66 is rolled up into various funds on page 55 and 60, whatever it is.
Correct, they all are.
And what are the amounts that's deferred?
The amounts that's deferred for your other restricted state grants is on page 67. That's where that's itemized. If you want to know for your other special revenue programs, your 200s and 800s, you look at page 56 in total.
And you did say that these were the same, that we don't spend them in this year. If you, year for 2000.
Pardon me? Right at 2,000.
You know, was that not counting,
Now, what is that number? It's 2009.
you sort of not there.
I'm quite sure Dr. Elwood that know the exact number of students we have in the district.
Okay, they should, that's it. You all check the secret, is that your
No, it's not.
Do we have any funds that we failed to use and we sent back this year?
No, not that you failed to use it this year. There was one fund that was supposed to be sent back last year from 13, 14. That was inadvertently not sent back, which will be sent back.
And how much was that?
$9,289.
All right, Dr. Lee, so I'm hearing you correctly. I will do somewhere. You don't know how many students we have in this district from K through 12.
So, Ms. McDaniel, first of all, that is a fluctuating figure. We have students who enroll and withdraw virtually every single day. I mean, there's no way in the world I can tell you on any given day when we have students who are coming and going.
Last time you had a count for the number of students in the district.
So, Ms. McDaniel, as I told you, the number is approximately 3,000.
No.
Well, that's my answer. Okay,
I
so
said
if you want
number of students K through 12.
Okay, I told you, my answer is approximately 3,000. There's no way I could keep an ongoing record of how many students come and go to the district on a daily basis.
Dr. Green, if you ask any superintendent in the state, who's a good superintendent, care about their students, they know how many students in their district.
Well, Ms. McDaniel, I think I know superintendent a whole lot better than you.
Those
So that's not true.
superintendents know how many students in their district, and we got less than 3,000, and you don't know how many students we have.
Well, first of all, Ms. McDaniel, I have a relationship with all the superintendents, and so most of them.
But I asked you that. I was
Okay, well,
asking you how many students.
Okay, well,
That's
I
the number that they
just,
use to determine how much we're spending per student.
I just gave you an answer, Ms. McDaniel. If you don't like the answer, I'm sorry.
It ain't about me not liking the answer, about we can't be superintendent, you should know how many students we have in the district.
Well, I guess you and I disagree about that.
Well, we can disagree, but you know it's the truth.
This money that has been sent back, what page is that on?
79.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back to the subject of please.
I'm done.
Now, to make sure you might consider not having the test scores and the audit on the same evening. So we have time to not be so late.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I have a call?
Realize.
The next item in the board agenda is the October finance report for the board of review.
What is that, item number 2?
Sorry, what? The finance report?
The final item under operations and finance is a budget transfer, and the superintendent recommends approval of a budget transfer of the budgeted accounts for the arts program in the district.
Is there a reason there's a recommendation for approval?
The reason is that we're moving more than $5,000 on various accounts.
Well, we've been moving amounts before, but we've never had approval, we just got the information. So what changed?
I don't know.
Dr. Green, on the fuel activity,
This, all right, can I answer my question first?
And off the top of my head, Dan, I think our policy is that any budget adjustment over $5,000 that's come before the board for approval. If it's under $5,000, it doesn't have to come to the board.
Okay, not just for, not for information, but for action.
Yeah, for approval.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go ahead and get a motion.
Let me, like I said, the superintendent, recommendation to approve the budget transfer from budget accounts for the art program in the district, finance sector.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Rick, looking for discussion, but, go ahead, Tom.
so that's on the public activity, $15,000. Is that a certain trip?
No, ma'am. They just budgeted that amount on the people activity. It very well could be used for some activities as such.
So you don't know what here?
No, ma'am.
Why would you know what?
Why would I know what?
I don't know what, I mean, this is wanting to transfer, so you don't know what's being transferred?
So the coordinator of the Fine Arts Program established the budget. Yes.
So we're not really, you can pull that from
Okay, so the coordinator of the Fine Arts Program established the budget, Ms. Hartman. I will assume that those people expenditures could be used for a host of things that I'm sure she has consulted the various art teachers in the district, and they have collaborated to determine that they felt this was the most prudent way to spend those resources.
Will they charge you to travel?
What's the question?
Will they charge you to travel? I mean, I didn't understand what you said. I thought you said something about the art teachers. Were you talking about 15,000? That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
What was your explanation then? I mean, maybe I didn't understand.
Okay, what Ms. Hartman asked me is what will those funds be expended on? And I said, I'm not sure. I'm quite sure the fine arts teachers, in addition to the coordinator, collaborated in terms of how those monies should be budgeted. They'll be spent on a host of things, I would imagine, over the course of the year.
And then my question was, will they put it all in travel? That's a travel account that they that you move it to.
Well, not necessarily. It could be spent in travel.
Well, I'm just asking because the account that you have on the paper that they're transferring it to is a travel account.
Are you talking about per pupil?
$15,000.
Yeah, the pupil activity account.
Because people actively travel. So I'm just asking if she's put it all in travel. Or they plan on using it for travel. And I think the soft question was, if it's going to travel, is it for a field trip or some other kind of trip or in district travel or what?
And so what I'm saying, Ms. McDaniel, is that these are all of the arts programs throughout the district. And so I don't anticipate that there's any one program that will utilize all of the funds. So we have orchestra, they may utilize some of the funds. We may have the high school band, we may have the drama, we may have chorus, we may have Kelly Miller's band. I mean, there are a host of programs that may utilize those funds. So I'm not in a position to tell you what all those various activities may be.
Which location? Look like you got cut off or something. What is that? 46, what location is that?
Recommend instruction. Recommend instruction.
So she's taking out of her district budget and sending it out to schools, trying for school use.
Say that, how many minutes again?
So she's moving money from, well, no, she's not, because it's going from supplies to travel.
Says technology supplies, field trips, and stipends. Right?
I'm not understanding the question.
Originally, in the statement, there was originally budgeted for, in the arts for supplies, kind of professional services accounts. The transfer allocates it further out, technology supplies, field trips, and stipends.
And I think the concern is the lump sum 15,000 that's in travel. And whether it is a field trip, if I heard this correctly.
Right.
And so, so for example, Ms. Hartman, if all of a sudden the orchestra decided they wanted to go see a show in Greenville, that may be funds that they could use to do that. I don't necessarily get into managing it to that extent in terms of how the fine arts department plans to spend all of the resources.
But that's just a huge amount we're asking for, and it just caused concern as to why wasn't it in the budget,
And so what happened, Ms. McDaniel, because this is a new line item, okay? And so we just added an item to the budget for arts expenditures. When they set up the budget, she really did not have opportunity to sit down and talk to all the fine arts teachers and collaborate on how those funds should best be budgeted. And so Kevin has set up the budget, I think, based on two line items, purchase services and supplies, knowing that we probably would have to come back once she's had opportunity to sit down and talk to everyone and come up with a little more detailed plan as relates to how those funds will be expended.
And I think Dr. Rudy, it would limit our discussion and help people on the board who are inquisitive and have a lot of questions about what's going on. If we bring the information to us, if we be more specific, you know, if we actually, I'm not sure how staff is sending it to, you know, that's your auspices, but if when the information comes to us, it's specific. If you spend the money and you don't bring it to us, no, we can't question it. But if you bring it to us, if you could just be specific about what it's for. You know, I don't like raising my hand over for something if I'm not specific. I don't hear too many articles about school districts and situations about money. So I want to make sure when I'm voting for the money, I know exactly what I'm voting for. It ain't got to do with trust. It's about making sure that I know what I'm voting for. So if you could just be more specific, and even when we ask you other questions, you know, the discussion you and I had about my frustration with your answer regarding the number of students. I've asked you that question before. So, we should know how many students we have in the district. We should know how many we have from K through 12, and we should know how many 3 and 4 year olds. And that would help minimize some of the frustration and the back and forth and help the meetings go smoothly. And if you don't know, you don't know. But then you should send it to us. So a lot of times we ask for the information and you're supposed to send it to us, but we don't get it.
Okay.
So I think it's right.
Roll back to
Madam Chair, if I could finish my final sentence on the statement, please. So I think if you could do that, that would just help us work smoother and maybe some questions that's being asked.
We'll move to the motion and the second that we have on the floor. Those in favor of the superintendent's recommendation for the approval of the budget transfer for the arts program in the district, signify by raising the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposition. 1. Abstention. 1.
I think we need to be talking about $50,000. We need to have more detail on this and that, which is what I think Ms. McDaniel was saying.
You want that on the record?
Yes, sir.
Okay, might want to state it, so right from here.
Did you hear what I said? When we're talking about transferring from one account to another of $50,000, be good for us to know
what more details about with this board.
Human Resources.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. For your approval are the one certified resignations and terminations of superintendent directors that approve them for professional staff members. Exhibit one.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we accept the superintendent's recommendation on certified resignations of exhibit one, number one.
Second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Frick and Mr. Miller. A motion has been made that the board approve the resignation for exhibit one, number one. Those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 2, 3, 4, 5, opposition, abstention, none.
Madam Chair, I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation to accept the resignation of exhibit one, numbers 2 and 3, pending suitable replacement being found.
Second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Frick and Mr. Miller. Recommendation has been made, or the motion and second have been made that the board approve the resignation of exhibit one, numbers 2 and 3, provided suitable replacements are found. Those in favor signify by raising your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposition. 1. Abstention. And recommendation.
Madam Chair, superintendent recommends the board approve the recommendations for professional staff members as outlined in exhibit two.
Madam Chair, make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation in exhibit 2 for certified recommendation.
Second that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Frick and Mr. Miller. A motion and a second have been made. Superintendent's recommendation is that the board approve the recommendation for the professional certified staff member. Those in favor signify by raising the right hand. Those in favor signify by raising the right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Opposition. Looks like 6. Move to the board chair report. Real quickly on that, there have been a number, or 3 or 4, maybe more entities that have come before us, either as public comment or in mail, asking to use the buildings that we no longer use, the facility at Old Camden Road, as well as the Gordon Odyssey, that facility that we're getting ready, and maybe somewhat have abandoned at this point. And at this point, I think we've got to do what's right. Obviously, what's owned by the district is owned by our taxpayers, our constituents, and we've got to make sure that those buildings are handled properly. So, given any other suggestions, I suggested to Dr. Green that there be a committee with, some folks within the district or whatever, that's his discretion, to come back to the board with the recommendation of what we should do with those facilities, whether it's give them away to, the sisterhood that wants them, or, lease them, sell them, whatever it is, to go through the actual process that's required by law to legally either dispense, keep, lease, whatever we decide to do with those buildings. Does anyone have any other suggestion of how to handle that?
Just a question on that. Who we, and I know you said that that was superintendent discretion, but any idea who the persons would be district staff, members of the community? If we know.
I don't know, I just felt like it didn't need to be a board member, and it really probably didn't need to be an ad hoc committee of the board. So, Dr. Green, thoughts on that?
And so I could see, assimilated with the district staff members and the way that is proposal and make a recommendation to the board.
And possibly even run some, ad in the paper or few weeks to let everyone know that we'll be entertaining, their ideas again in a consolidated format, something like that. So,
Now, so why are you saying you would want more than was involved?
because we would ultimately have to make that decision, so I think it would be best for us to vote on that and evaluate what was brought to us rather than be part of that committee.
Is there a policy in place that tells how we deal with property? And my main
I don't
concern,
And I'm interrupted a lot, so I just interject. I don't know.
Go ahead. What I'm expressing as a concern is the state Department of Education has a process. When you purchase school district money, you can't just arbitrarily decide you're going to give away. There's research that has been done, and the school's facilities at the State Department of Education has to have a say-so, especially depending on what kind of money the facilities were purchased with.
Oh, correct.
And
Exactly. That's what I've asked, is that we do that according to that process.
Yeah, but we need to know what the process is, and we as board members don't know what it is, and then we don't charge the administration before we know what it is. And if you know what I wrote in, maybe you should send out your board members or the board members, you know. My other issue is with, hopefully Fairfield will be wrong with the completion of BC Summers. I'm not understanding why we would want to give property away that we own, and then as we grow, then we'll need property. And so then we have to go out and spend additional taxpayers' money to purchase property while we're sitting here giving property away.
I don't know that that's what we'll decide, because again, that question is entertaining all options. That's what I'm saying. I'm not throwing out my opinion or anyone else's. I'm saying I think a good direction would be to do the research, find out what the appropriate process is, and come back and report on it. Then we can decide how to go from there.
But if we're not planning on selling the property or giving it away, which probably should be established first, then why waste staff time going through the request that we made? So I'm just asking that we first decide whether or not we want to sell it.
Again, researching the process, coming back with a recommendation that we can certainly discuss.
Well, I'm requesting that the first piece of information that we brought back to us is what school facilities have to say about the research and once the research is done, then that piece of information be brought back to us as far as what the State Department says that we can and cannot do the property.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And
And then we have that before we believe that what the biggest thing, and are we each going to recommend somebody or?
that's why I opened it up. I don't have a plan. I'm just saying, let's just wait till we get the research and we can discuss the process further. Next is the travel to the Legislative Assembly, December 4th through 6th. I'll go with Daniel, Ms. Hartman, did it too, and Reverend Jackson. We'll be doing that. In the side pocket, you have the superintendent's evaluation. We will have that in December if you'd like to go ahead and complete it at any point. We don't have printed copies, but we will have printed copies at that time, and it is in the side pocket for your review.
Is this the same day that you used in the past?
Yes, it is. The committee report on board compensation, Mr. Miller.
Yes, ma'am. Board members, we've met twice since the month of, I think, September. And moving ahead, we will probably be sending something out. We're going to meet again. The first meeting we had everybody. Last meeting we had one of our board members that was a little ill, and she couldn't make it. But we want to meet again, and then we're going to bring it back to the board, hopefully in the December meeting. That we can kind of have a little work it out.
Great.
See what the board says next about.
We appreciate that. I know that's an extra meeting and effort on your part as well as the others on the committee. So thank you for your efforts on that. We'll look forward to that.
Madam Chair, you said anything to this, Harrison from the board?
Yes, with some direction, I'm happy to. I don't know what the status is. I haven't heard of it.
But I think I'm pretty sure she's been in and out of the hospital, and I'm surprised that none of the staff have been in contact with her. I saw the email that was sent from Ms. Brown, which I don't know if it was followed up with a phone call or not, but, you know, whether regardless of what your feelings are about a person, when they're going through, she's one of us, she's part of the board, we should have considered something, even if it was just in her house. But she did send me a text and asked me to ask everyone who knows Maria Prayer to really pray for her, and that she is rested, and she's sorry that she could not be here tonight, but she wants us, like I said, those who know Maria Prayer to pray for her. So I hope we can use
If
that
that's-
as an opportunity to send something to her.
That's,
Well, I did
Yes,
talk
ma'am.
to her.
Okay,
I want to know that I spoke with Ms. Harris twice. Okay, and I did email her I didn't have a text her. I texted her last week. I figured she wasn't feeling well because I didn't hear anything else from her. But in the last 2 weeks, we have talked. And matter of fact, she talked with Mr. Freak and I on last week, and she wasn't feeling well. So, you know, we was going to do it by phone. But we wish her,
absolutely, you know, at the board's pleasure, you know.
Absolutely.
Is that something that we can do? Ms. Brown will send a ring.
But I do want the board to know that I did email, I did text, and I did call. I did get a response, except from Mr. Miller that he did speak to her. So I did follow up as the board requested, and I do not mind contacting the board to send her something.
I think that'd be great.
If you want to contact them, Ms. Brown, it would be best that you contact her between the hours of 10 and 12. Thank you. Great.
No other business before the board, motion to adjourn from.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Thank you very much.